Are you serious? Get some coffee, everybody. We're not a conspiracy theorist, but we are maybe a conspiracy realist. Great to see everybody here today on this 9/11. 24 years ago, the United States was hit with a brutal attack from the outside and I believe also from within. It was a combination to take down America, to create a global wars that have never ended since. We remember, though, those nearly 3,000 people that died that day and their families. Well, now we're in another terror situation. Not just the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday, but some confirmation we've gotten today from what Mike from around the world said last night. Let me share that with you in just a second. Let me put a shout out real fast for www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. While we're being distracted by the headlines, the insiders are getting ready. Billionaires, big banks, even foreign governments, they're all quietly hoarding up the gold and silver. They know the dollar is being devalued, and they know the next crash is coming. So you ask yourself, why don't we own what they are buying? Why don't we have a fraction of the wealth in real physical asset like gold or silver? Gold, a biblical currency. While they're preparing, folks, the average American is left in the dark, but we don't have to be. Noble Gold Investment is making it very simple to protect ourselves with the same investment-grade gold and silver that the elites are stockpiling. It's a real assets that you can hold in your hand or keep in your retirement accounts. They'll ship you gold or silver bars or put them in secure vaults. Don't wait until the headlines confirm what's already happening behind closed doors. You can either watch the next crisis unfold or you can follow the moves of the ones who are pulling the strings. Go right now, click on that link below this video. Go to www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. You'll be glad that you did. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Feast of Trumpets is coming. I don't know. I know this. I'm preaching a message this Sunday called It's a September to Remember. It is on a variety of things that are taking place today and what the Bible says would happen in the end times, and to try to help us understand the madness, the meanness, the maliciousness, the malice, the mocking. It's in the multitudes that are really standing in the valley of decision. So don't miss that sermon Sunday morning at Freedom Fellowship. Service begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, okay? 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss that. All right, now, let me just say quickly, many of you are saying, well, what do I do about my Feast of Trumpet offering? You just send it in with your prayer request, either to paulbegleyprophecy.com or pick up the phone and call 765-414-2230, or just send a check or money order in the mail to the address below that's going on the ticker, okay, to Indiana. Send it to Indiana. All right, here's what we have to deal with today. And this is interesting, but very important. Last night, we did a special broadcast with Mike around the world, and it was a heart-wrenching one, but I think necessary to try to understand the assassination of Charlie Kirk and what could this all mean in a broader sense. I also did a special Patreon and posted it last night with, as I received information from two different government insiders, two different people from two different agencies that had very vital information they sent, and I felt I should share it with you all, and I did on my Patreon channel. So it's titled More to Come. You want to click on Patreon and watch that. If you're not a member of my Patreon channel, go do that. But let me tell you what's been happening. Mike, one of the things Mike said was that semi-trailers would be hitting police officers on the side of the road. he made that statement. It's like, that's just, I mean, yeah, it can happen. Rarely it probably does accidentally, but it couldn't be an agenda, could it? So Heidi got, of course, into the research, and we began to take a look at this morning. And here's what we found. Recent news is showing multiple incidents of police officers are being hit by trucks, including off-duty police officer in Louisville, Kentucky, who was seriously injured in a crash by a semi-truck driver on September 9th. Also, 2 Houston police officers were injured in a crash on the same day, September 9th, while transporting a suspect. And 2 Detroit police officers were hospitalized after a truck ran a red light and slammed into their patrol car. Now, also, there was 2 different police officers hit yesterday in Lubbock, Texas. They were parked on the side of the road on a like a bridge, okay, an overpass, when a semi-truck driver smashed into both of their squad cars, pinning both of the police officers, pinning them, dangling over the overpass, both of them. And people were able to miraculously save them and keep them from falling, although they were seriously, seriously hurt, okay? This is something that's becoming unbelievable. This is way too many police officers being hit by semi-truck drivers on the side of the road. You can't have this many people, this many situations happening without, once is an accident. Twice is kind of a coincidence. 3 times, there's an agenda. And so we're talking Houston, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Louisville, Kentucky, Detroit, Michigan, all in the last few days. And Mike says it is an agenda, that it is something that we should take a look at. Apparently, there is chatter being talked about. I think this is terrorist activity. I think this is what Mike has talked about in the past, that what are you going to do when truck drivers start driving maybe a fuel tanker full of gasoline or some type of flammable chemicals and just go driving straight into, a grocery store, or slamming into a nuclear power substation, or poisoning the water, the drinking water in a major city. I mean, what are you going to do when these are not lone wolf? We could call them lone wolf terrorists, but really it's an orchestrated situation. And I think that what we're saying here on this 9/11, that 24 years after 9/11, we're nowhere even close to being a nation that has secured itself. Matter of fact, our borders were so insecure. We don't know how many terrorists got in. We don't know how many Chinese national communists got in. We don't know how many radical Islamists from the Middle East got in. We don't know how many drug cartel members got in. We don't know how many prisoners from Venezuela and all around the world got in. We don't know how many Russians have made their way in that are anti-Americans. We just don't know. I mean, there were just so many people. And also, how many sleeper cells were already here and have been here and have assimilated into our society, and we think that they're okay. But in reality, they're just waiting for the call. I can tell you. And I'll share with you a situation happened to me in in Toronto, Canada, about 7 years ago. I was asked to go and preach in a revival for a church in Toronto, Canada. And it was mostly Jamaican people that had, moved to Canada. So it was definitely a Jamaican culture church, and I was asked to come and preach. And I've preached several revivals in Jamaican churches, 4 different Jamaican churches in Canada. I preached twice for Harvest Army Church in the Bronx, New York revival, and I preached twice in Jamaica itself at the largest church in the Caribbean islands for Dr. Davis there in St. Catherine's, Jamaica, as a church of 6,000 people. So I've been privileged and blessed to preach to the Jamaican congregations. So I was asked to come preach at this Jamaican church in Toronto. And on the very first night after the service, a man walked up to me who I'd never seen in my life, did not know him, and said, "Pastor, let me take you to dinner tonight, and then I'll take you to your hotel." The security guy who was assigned to me from the church looked at me and said, "Don't do it. Stay with me. I am responsible to take you back to your hotel." And I said, "Well," and this guy says, "Oh, it'll be fine. I'll take you there. Where are you staying? I'll take you. I just want to take you for dinner. We're going to have a nice conversation. Love watching you on YouTube." And so, but I listened to the guy who was the security guy, and I said, "No, I better go with the security guy. But I tell you what, if you come back tomorrow night, I'll go with you." So so the next night came, and he was there. And when the service was over, had a great service, he came up to me, and he said, "Are you ready to go? I'll take you." So I told my driver, I said, "I'm going to go with him. I'm going to have dinner with him. He's going to take me to the hotel." He said, "Don't do it, Pastor. Don't do it. I highly recommend you don't do it." I said, "Well, I think it'd be okay." And he was distraught. But I went ahead and went with the man who invited me to dinner. Heidi was not with me on this trip. I went to Canada. I went to this revival alone, without Heidi and without any security or somebody that I usually don't travel alone. But for some reason, I had to on this one. So after the service was over, he took me to a very expensive steakhouse and said, "I want to treat you to this." And so we went in and we sat down, and immediately his demeanor changed. He immediately became a different person. He began to talk. When he started talking, his accent changed. He started to swear and cuss and say words in his normal conversation that I was stunned, because that was not the person I had been talking to in those last 2 days. Immediately, I was stunned, but what am I going to do? Okay, so I'm not going to just say, "Hey, look, I don't want to do this now." I just said, "Okay, I just flew," but I just noticed this change was so abrupt and so off the change. I mean, it's like a change. And so his conversation and his demeanor and how he sat in his chair and everything he was doing was totally wrong. Felt wrong. They came, we ordered dinner. We ordered the steaks and the baked potatoes and the whole 9 yards. But he started talking about 9/11. He started talking about the Middle East, terrorism. And you have to understand, at this point, the United States had already been to Iraq. We'd already been to Afghanistan. Matter of fact, we'd already pulled out of Iraq by then. That was Barack Obama did that. But we were still in Afghanistan. He knew my oldest son, had fought in Afghanistan for a year, which, that was public knowledge. But he continued to talk to me. And he then began to tell me that we are getting in position, he said. And he started using the term "we." We are getting put in position, not only in America, but all over Canada, especially in the Toronto area. Because Toronto's not far from Detroit, so I kind of figured that out. Because I knew about Dearborn, Michigan, and I knew Detroit, and I knew Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I knew Toronto had a lot of Middle Eastern people. And
as he talked more, he said that he was a banker and that he had actually had moved to Canada. He'd been sent there. He'd gone to college. He was in the financial institutions, and he was actually working. He was a banker, an executive in the banks. And he said to me, "We're everywhere." And I said, "Are you Muslim?" He said, "I'm from a Muslim family and a Muslim culture." I said, "Okay." And then we talked some more, and he kept referring to we. And finally, at one point, I said, are you a practicing Muslim right now, or are you a Christian? He said, "Oh, I'm a Muslim. I've been watching you for a long time." I felt the blood start to drain out of my body, thinking, oh no, I have been lured into a trap. I started looking around for where the back door was. I didn't know Toronto. And where this steakhouse was miles from my hotel. I didn't have my cell phone. I had left it at the hotel. I decided I didn't need it, because I just didn't want it going off, which is very rare for me. I usually always have a cell phone. But this was 2017. And even though I had death threats in the past, I just wasn't preparing myself. And then at some point, I said, well, with all these sleeper cells and I'm not saying you're a terrorist. I said, I know you're saying you're a practicing Muslim, but I said, with all these different, let's just talk about the fact that there is a lot of sleeper cells everywhere. Is there a plan, or is there a day that somebody sends out, the warning? Someone sends out the message, it is time. Is there something that indicates this? Oh, he said, yeah, there is. There's a code. But what you don't understand, it isn't about sleeper cells. It's all of us. And if I was given the word to kill you, I would kill you right now. And I just sat there. And I said, well, you're going to have to get past the big angels I have. That's one problem you're going to have. But I said, I see what you're saying. You're saying it's not specific. It's global. Are you saying it's global? He said, exactly. And we're everywhere. At that point, I said, look, I really don't feel comfortable. I really would like to go back to my room now. He said, finish your meal. I'll take you. You're fine. I never got the code word. It's not a code word. Nothing's been released. I said, I really would rather just go back. And so he said, well, let's finish. And so we had to finish. We did. I'll never forget that walk from the restaurant to his car, because I just kept thinking, should I even get in there? Should I even get back into that car? Or should I just get a cab, get a different ride, But as foolish as I was, I got back in that car. And he drove me back to my hotel. And I never have seen that man again. He never came back to the rest of the revival. I had 2 more nights. He never showed. He sent that warning. He sent that message. We're everywhere. And they're waiting for the code. Now, I don't know if that means a massive release, or is it a code that starts a process of different groups of people doing different things, like these truck drivers smashing into cop cars, or the truck driver here in America or here in Florida that just turned in the middle of the interstate and a family crashed into it and were killed. I don't know. But it's 9/11, 24 years later. Do you feel safer than you did 24 years ago? Have we truly made the political moves and decisions that would protect us? Or has the surveillance world, the surveillance culture of America, Is it more focused on you or on them? Do they spend more time analyzing you or them? Mike from around the world, confirmation. Truck drivers are running over police officers on the side of the road. And as Mike said, watch it. It will increase. Give your life to Jesus Christ, folks. We're running out of time.
I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. Feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway.
I got 5 verses to read from the book of Psalms to help encourage you today. Tonight, Mike from around the world will be joining me again for our normal Thursday night broadcast, and it will be very interesting what has transpired, what we have learned in a 24-hour period on 9/11. But let me read this for you. This is Psalms chapter 27. Pastor Melvin Whittington read portions of this yesterday. I want to read it to you guys again today. In Psalms 27, the Bible says, "For the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. And though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, and I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me, and he shall set me upon a rock. And that rock, folks, is Christ, the firm foundation of our faith. Keep praying for Charlie Kirk's family. Pray for the FBI, Kash Patel, and everyone involved in the FBI, Kristi Noem, and the Department of Homeland Security, as they continue to pursue and find those that were responsible. And I'm going to use the word those because I don't think it was a one-man deal. I think the one man who shot him, Charlie Kirk, was a professional hitman, but I think there were several people involved in this assassination. God bless all of you. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Today I'll be on, and tonight my broadcast will be at 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, today I'll also be, I think I'm a guest on Larry Ragland's show today. So stay tuned to that. God bless all of you.